Ah, hey, we here live on this Sunday morning, man. It's your famous WTP Sports Dudes. Yeah, your number one podcast that you come to for all of sports. I'm here live. I'm one take Zaya. I got Robert in the building at WTP for Life. What's up, Rob? How you doing this morning?
I'm feeling great, bro. I'm ready to be here this morning. I'm glad to be here this morning, man. I'm ready to get into some of this ACC talk because this is one of those conferences in football that's going to be very, very interesting.
Nah, facts, man. Hopefully, we get a couple more other guys that join us. But y'all can see all the channels down at the bottom. If you haven't subscribed to our channels, please go ahead and make sure you take time to do that. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it helps us out a lot. Man, let's get right into it, man. This ACC, man, it was crazy last year. They only had one team make the playoff, man, but I'm saying though, they 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 made it to the championship game. You feel me? That one team made it to the championship game. So we gonna see if they gonna get some respect this year, based off of that one team. But my first question for you is: will the ACC get more respect after Miami's run last?
I definitely think that they're going to get more respect this year. I feel like they had some teams that we thought were going to be better at the end of the season, but it just didn't pan out that way. They ended up eating in on each other, so that kind of messed up and muddied up the waters in that conference. But what Miami was able to do, making it to the championship game, a team going towards the end of the season that we thought was probably on the bubble to even make the college football playoffs, they go all the way to the championship game, had an opportunity to possibly win it in the end. The interception happened, and then, of course, they ended their season and they give up that national championship to Indiana. But I think when you look at this conference as a whole, and you look at the conference of the Big 12, and both of those two conferences are vying for who's going to be better, who's going to be the third best conference out of the Power Fours. I think this ACC conference, with some of the quarterbacks that they're going to have playing this season, are going to be really, really good. And I think they're going to get more respect this year based on what we've seen happen last year and going forward.
Well said, well said. Yeah, man, listen, I think it was just one of those weird years last year, and the way the schedule fell and the wins that people were getting, it was so round robinish. You know how you do a round robin and everybody playing everybody and then everybody beating everybody. I think that's just a product of what we got in the ACC. To where we just had a clunk of 8 and 4s, so it was kind of hard to really show them the type of respect because I don't know. I would like to think that people still would take ACC football over Big 12. Um, but, with Clemson being down last year, I think that hurt the conference a lot uh, because coming into the year, it was people picking Clemson to win it all. So when you got a team that just plays the total opposite, just like Penn State last year in the Big Ten, but you don't have nobody else to replace that team, that's where they was just kind of like, oh, all these dudes on this Clemson roster is going to be NFL dudes, but all these other teams, they ain't got as much talent on their roster as it. So how can we show the respect of these are some of the best teams in the country when the teams that stacked with NFL talent is not competing on the level that they thought they should be? So I don't know. I think it was just a curse and how the games fell last year for them. I don't know. I think the ACC will get their due respect based off of Miami's run last year because we seen that they can have a team or maybe two this year or maybe three. We're gonna get into that. That can compete with anybody in the country, and that leads me right into it. What's up, Papa Whitmore? Good to have you in here. That leads me to the next question. Will we see similar chaos in the ACC this season?
I mean, I think for the last couple of seasons, especially since the college football playoffs has started, we've seen some sort of chaos in the ACC. Every year we've seen it. So I think it's going to continue. I think when you look at some of the teams that are in this conference and the way they play, and we constantly watch this conference a lot because of our man Mossberg and his Florida State Seminoles, just to see the chaos that we know is going to happen. And it's one of the most chaotic conferences in college football because, like you said earlier, they had a bunch of 8-4 teams who could have possibly at some point been 9-3 or even 10-2 had they won some of those games down the stretch. I think with this conference, man, you got a middle of the pack. I think coming into this year that could possibly leap up there and be one of those teams that could possibly make it to the ACC championship game. When you start looking at your Louisvilles, you start looking at your maybe even Virginia Tech this year. Can Georgia Tech rebound after losing Haynes King? I think that's his name. And some of those players. So I think there's going to be chaos for sure in the ACC. It's just a really well-balanced conference when you go from the top tier teams and then you got that middle of the pack like you talked about earlier. It's going to always be some chaos in there.
So I think it's going to definitely see some chaos. I just don't think it's going to be on that level of it was last year. That last year stuff was crazy to the end, the last week of football. Though we ain't know what was. I don't think it's going to probably be the clear-cut winner of this conference. I'm moving ahead too fast. But I think outside of Miami, I think it'll be a little more clear with that next 3 or 4 teams that we do see. How you doing, Anthony Manzano? Thank you for coming in to watch. Hit that subscribe button for us if you haven't did it. But I don't think we're going to get the scenario of which we were looking at last year. I think the next 3 or 4 teams will probably work itself out a little better. I don't want to move too far ahead because I do got some questions that's going to tap into the things that I'm trying to say on this topic right now, but I don't want to move too far ahead, so we're going to get to that, though. I'm just going to say that I don't think it's going to be how it was last year, but we're going to see some chaos. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Hey, before I get your breakout team from this conference, are you familiar with all the quarterbacks that we have in this conference now? How do you think the QB talent and play will be in this conference this year? Do you think it'll be strong, comparable to maybe SEC, Big Ten, and the Big 12 as well? How do you think they stack up?
I mean, I think this conference got some dudes in it, man. I mean, when you start talking about Mensa going to Miami, you still got Jennings back at SMU for another season, which will be maybe his 4th season at SMU. Then you got Lincoln Keyhouse going over to Louisville from Ohio State, a quarterback that we've all been waiting to see play, a dual threat guy. I think this conference has some quarterbacks in it, man. That and anytime you got a conference that has a lot of quarterbacks that you're going to face week in and week out, it's going to make things interesting. I think this conference is in good shape from the quarterback position, and I'm anxious to see what they're going to do out there, especially those 3 that I just named.
Yeah. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. It's a lot of dudes in this conference this year, in my opinion. You know, they got post game dude over at Syracuse and Jelly that he was real high on. I still like CJ Bailey at North Carolina State. When he get into his rhythm, you know, he can ball. You mentioned Lincoln. So the Clemson dude who we seen last year, he came in that game that Klubnik was hurt, and he threw for like 350, I think, and they lost against SMU. He threw for 350 though with 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. So, I don't know. They high on him, but they got another freshman that they said been balling named Tate Reynolds, and he a freshman. He a dual threat, and they real high on him. They said he already taken number 2 reps, so he pushing for that number 1 spot. We're gonna see how that QB battle play out. And Mensa, we know what Mensa is. He's a gunslinger. He might be a lot of people's early Heisman favorite. And what is Penn State's Franklin? Franklin brought over his backup quarterback from Penn State. So we got to think that's gonna be a healthy relationship. And just because the kid already knows the system, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I think we're gonna see some good quarterback play in this conference this year. Absolutely. And you mentioned Lincoln. That's my guy from Ohio State. We're gonna keep close eyes on him over at Louisville. But I'm curious to even know or see what they believe where he would fare in like a ranking, considering a lot of these other dudes. Because if he's at the bottom of the list, which I think he probably would fall in just a QB ranking from the conference, then I feel like you in good hands, because that dude, he can ball. You know what I mean? We know him very well. He can ball. So I don't know. I think we're gonna see some monster quarterback play this year. And Kevin Jennings is one dude too that you mentioned. Monster. He can carry them to possibly win the ACC in the regular season, in my opinion. So yeah, I think it's a lot of dudes this year. Let's tap into Anthony. Tap into Anthony Manzano's comments. He said, hold on, that's the wrong one. He said Big 12 has always been a quarterback-friendly conference for development because they can't play defense to save their life. Yeah, I agree with you. It definitely is a friendly quarterback conference. The Big 12 is always giving me a. I think that's the same thing he was saying. Yeah, I'm gonna tap into your Miami question later, because we got a question that's gonna kind of touch into that, Anthony. And he said, because let's be honest, there are a few teams last year that were ranked in the ACC that deserve to be ranked, but because they're ACC teams, they were unranked. Oh, you saying because they were ACC teams? Yeah. Well, I don't think nobody's seen that coming for Clemson, bro. Like, I don't think nobody was gonna ever predict that. All them dudes. We're gonna see probably. Off that team last year, we're probably going to see at least 10 NFL dudes. I think both of their receivers that's there this year, NFL dudes. I think Peter Woods is probably go in the first round, NFL dude. And then Avion Terrell probably go on day 2. They had talent on that team, bro. All right. This is the next question I got for you, Rob. Which team do you think could break out and make a run to win this conference?
I'm going to go with either SMU and Louisville. I think one of those two teams, man, because of the fact that the weapons that King Host is going to have at Louisville at the wide receiver position and the running game that they have, with that running back that they got, they're going to be really, really tough, man. And they got a good offensive line. So they're going to be really, really tough. I think they're going to be right there. They had an opportunity to be there last year, but they lost down the stretch. That really hurt them and hurt their chances of making it to the ACC championship game. And then SMU. Kevin Jennings, like I said earlier, probably in his 4th season at SMU. We know what he can do. A smaller quarterback, but we know he can throw. He can throw that football. He can make plays. And SMU has been one of those teams that have been right there the last 2 years. I believe that they can break through here this year, especially when you see a team like Georgia Tech that's going to go through some changes because of them losing their quarterback. And then we don't know what Clemson is going to be, and we don't know what Florida State is going to be as of yet. So before the season starts, I'm looking at those two teams to possibly be one of those teams that's vying for the ACC championship game with Miami.
Yeah, I agree with Louisville and SMU just because I know SMU always gonna have a chance because Kevin Jennings is like that. Um, but listen, this is where I said we're gonna see chaos because it's a lot of teams you can identify that could possibly break out. It's just about the football guys being on your side. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go with Virginia, even though that's kind of they were up at the top of the conference last year. I'm gonna go with Virginia because Pabula is out there too. Um, ain't Pabula? Didn't he go there? I want to say he
I'm not
went
sure
there.
where that's a quarterback from Missouri.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not sure where he went.
I think he went to Virginia. If I'm not mistaken, uh, and I think he will eat that conference up. So I'm gonna go Virginia, and then my sleeper dark horse is NC State because I love CJ Bailey, man, and I think if he could just figure it all out, yeah, Pabula is at Virginia. If he could figure it all out, man, I'm telling you, man, he can go. He was Jeremiah Smith's quarterback in high school too, so I've been tapped in with him for a while. Yep. We getting to that, Anthony. We getting to that. Um, all right, who is your highlight impactful player in the conference this season? If you got to identify one guy that is just gonna have a monster season, who you rolling with?
Man, I'm gonna probably have to say Darian Mensah, man. I think that him going to the Miami team, man, with the weapons that they're gonna have, with the confidence they're gonna have, I think he's gonna be able to be the difference for them. I think that Carson Beck was a solid enough quarterback for them to make it to the championship game, but I think Mensah is a little bit different, man. And so I'm going with Darian Mensah. I think him transferring in there from Duke is going to be the guy that's in a conference that he's already familiar with. So he's going to be the guy that I think is going to probably be the most impactful this next season in 2026.
Yeah, this is a very broad question. You can really go any way with these dudes. You know what I'm saying? And one guy I think is gonna have a monster year is Malachi Tony. I think he gonna possibly try to steal away a couple awards, man. You know how I feel about people. Not I be saying I say this all the time. They don't like giving Buckeyes awards. I feel like he's gonna have a chance to sneak in and take maybe one of the wide receiver awards. It's multiple best receiver, wide receiver awards out there, and I think he gonna have a chance to grab one of those or two of those maybe. And then also, I expect my boy Lincoln, man. I listen. He almost won his job last year. We gotta understand this. The fact that he's a mobile quarterback too, and he can get it with his legs. I'm telling you, man, the world. He's about to introduce himself to the world this year. I really had that much faith in him if he played and started at Ohio State. I think we might even had a different season because, bro, you can't not have a quarterback not pick up first downs with your legs in this football era now, bro. You gotta have a dude that can at least go get a first down sometimes with his legs, bro. And I'm telling you, Lincoln, he about to turn up for real. They still did Isaac Brown return? I want to say Isaac Brown returned too. So yeah, that 1-2 punch back there
Yeah,
going crazy.
but running back Texas was trying to get him because he was talking about he
Yeah,
was going in the portal, but he stayed at Louisville. He gonna be
yeah. So
tough.
that's gonna be a monster duo right there. They probably gonna tear the ACC up this year for sure. Let's see what Anthony's saying. He said, honestly, I think the player that's going to produce the most highlights because of how he plays is possibly Bryce Fitzgerald, the safety for Miami. So Miami returned their whole secondary except for number 8, I think. I can't think of his name right now. Dude played all over the field though. That Miami defense is definitely going to be turned this year, though. And he
You know,
said,
I mean, he mentioned Fitzgerald, and I like Fitzgerald, but Fitzgerald as safety gonna have to put some more weight on him, man. He's only like 170 something odd pounds. He's gonna have to put some more weight on him, playing that safety position though. But he's a really talented player, that's for sure.
Yeah, facts. He said Jacoby Thomas. Yeah, that's Jacoby Thomas, number 8. Yep. I think the two dark horses to win the Heisman Trophy are in the ACC with Mensa and the running back from Louisville. Yep, Isaac Brown. Yeah, for sure, absolutely. I'm not even gonna say Darian Mensa is a dark horse. He might be the front runner coming into the year. You know what I'm saying? Like he really like real life might be the front runner. He retired. He got Malachi Tony and he got his number 1 target from Duke that came into the from the portal with him to Miami. So he gonna have weapons. You know what I'm saying? He might not. I don't know. He might not be a dark horse. You know what I'm saying, Anthony? Hey, let me see where we at. Okay, here we go. Are there any early season matchups that you think will tell us all we need to know about the ACC race this season?
Well, I think Miami got to play Clemson and Florida State, so that's going to be one. And I think Louisville have a couple of games on their schedule that are going to be interesting. But I think in this conference as a whole, every year we always have these games, especially the back half of the season, where we're watching it and we're like, oh man, after we see what these teams look like after about 6-8 weeks, we're like, oh man, this matchup is going to be really good. They got to travel to Louisville to play them. And you know how tough it is to play in Louisville, or a team has to travel to SMU down the stretch, and that SMU team with Jennings mess around and pop them, or you got to travel up to Syracuse. And like they did, and they popped Miami that year, kept Miami out of the playoffs. There's always going to be games in this conference later on in the year that are going to be very, very intriguing, that create that chaos that we've been talking about.
Yeah. Uh, I think the game that I'm looking forward to early in the season is actually 2. And we got Pitt at Virginia Tech week 5. And then in week 6, we got Florida State at Louisville. I think them games, because the reason why I chose those games because the chaos that we seen last year, I think by that time, all them teams should be like 4-1, maybe 3-2, and whoever wins those games, I think is probably going to be in the upper echelon of the ACC this year. And those are going to be the teams that's looking for bids for the playoffs, in my opinion. Because I don't listen. I think Virginia Tech's schedule is tough, but I believe in James Franklin and bringing Big Ten talent into the ACC. I think he can probably get through at least 10-2, 9-3, and they could be looking at a bid. So I don't know. Maybe that's some little homerism, as T1 call it, because I'm rooting for the Big Ten guy. You know what I'm saying? That's now in the ACC, but hey, call it what you want. I think Big Ten football is way tougher than ACC football, and I think they're gonna have a lot of Big Ten talent on that field, and that's gonna push them through that ACC. He said, joking around, doesn't Florida State face Alabama again this year? Can you imagine if they beat them twice in back-to-back years? Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I've been hearing a lot of good things about this Florida State team this spring. They said it don't look like last year. That's what they're telling us. They saying it's looking better than last year. So we'll see. Level Up Sports Team, he was talking a whole bunch about Kevin Sperry. I'm hearing another name out there in Florida State, though. I wish he was up here to talk about it, though. Because, he be going hard about Kevin Sperry.
Yes, he does.
Bro, do not let up. All right. Are there? Oh, I think I just asked that. What is your top game in the ACC this year? As you glance at the schedule, kind of a little bit. We early in spring, but what game are you looking forward to seeing this year?
And I'm just saying this just based on the fact that I'm just hoping that these two teams are better and they rebound because historically we've always liked a Miami Clemson matchup and we've always liked a Miami Florida State matchup. I know that all those other matchups are going to be out there and we're going to probably like those later on in the season once we get there based on what teams' records are and how well they're playing. But for me right now, it got to be Miami when they got to travel and they got to play Clemson and they got to play Florida State. I'm just hoping that those games live up to the hype of the past.
Yeah. Hey, I think we're gonna have a burner on here. I'm calling it right now. The game that's going to decide the ACC for me is going to be Virginia Tech is going to Miami in week 12 or 13. I think that is the game. That's going to be the game of the year in the ACC. I think it's going to be a monster game. I think that's going to be the game that decides who actually wins this conference. Hey, y'all heard it here first. Stamp that. No.
Yeah,
What'd he say? He said Rod Fitzgerald plays the rover position in our defense, so he doesn't really need to be that heavy. Maybe 205 at the heaviest. He doesn't need to be 215 or 225. Oh, you a Miami
I agree
fan?
with that. I agree. I mean, I would like to see him at least get to 190, 195. I think right now they got him listed at 172. Maybe that's based on last year's statistics, though. But if he can get up there to around 190, 195, I would like to see him around there as opposed to they had him listed at 172. I think that's way too light for a guy as talented as he is.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they're going to put some weight on him, that's for sure.
Was he a freshman last year?
I think so. Well, that was his first year, I think, playing.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it just depends for me. Like, I feel like you got to play comfortable. You know, everybody got a different weight that they feel comfortable playing at. You don't want to feel heavy on your feet, so it depends how he hold that weight. What does his stature look like?
He's 6'1".
I'm saying, do he look skinny?
I mean, hey, we seen that that Miami team running around on that field? Didn't nobody look skinny?
I don't remember those skinny guys. No, for real though. Hey, I guess I don't know. If it ain't too noticeable, I feel like he should play at whatever way he feel comfortable playing that, man. As long as it ain't affecting you with like injuries, you good, you know. Anthony said his game is Miami versus SMU because he believes SMU is going to be ranked by that time. By the time that game happens, yeah, that's going to be a monster matchup too. What week is that? I wonder what week that is. He said he was a redshirt freshman last year. Hey, Anthony, we might have to bring you up to talk about your Miami Hurricanes, man. You know your stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Where we at? All right. All right, let's play a little game, Rob. We're going to play a little lock or not. First lock or not. One or both Dabo and Norvell will get fired by the end of the season.
Hey, you started off with fire. Oh man, you know what, man? I'm gonna go lock because I really feel like Norvell should have already been fired, man. He can't keep living off of that 14-0 season where they got played. I think it's probably the writing is probably on the wall that this guy is not the guy that's going to be able to be the coach that leads Florida State to the promised land. I know when they went 14-0, he had a lot of guys that he got out of the portal. He hasn't really been able to do that the last two seasons. I'm going to say at least he gets fired. Dabo is another animal, man. And I think if they have a bounce back season, they're going to be happy that they kept him. But I would like to see Dabo go somewhere else myself. But I'm going to say lock.
Where do you think Dabo would fit? Like, do you think he need to switch conferences? Like, where would he fit?
Oh man, that's a good question, man. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, if he goes to the SEC or the Big Ten, those is fucking nightmare conferences, bro. And where you gonna land? You gonna land at a team that probably is not going to be able to get the players that you need to be competitive. So he could probably go to the Big 12 and be the man because he gonna play some good solid defense, something that they don't do in the Big 12. So he either better stay in the ACC or go to the Big 12.
And would you give if you're a program? Do you think Norvell is a guy that you would consider to hire, or do you think he's really a coordinator?
I think he's a head coach caliber coach. He's probably not on the level of a team like a Florida State who their fans want to see them 10 plus wins a season. Somewhere at a lower power four school, definitely. I mean, that might change. He might start to grow and get a little bit better at what he does. You know, with time, everybody can get better.
Hey, listen, I don't know. I think Clemson's gonna turn it around. I like their OC, Chad Morris. Chad Morris is the dude that brought him into this era of offense for real. Like he was there right before they start winning them national championships, but he's the one that took them to the spread and got them out of the power I. You know what I mean? So I like Chad Morris there. I think he can turn that off because that offense looked terrible last year. But I'm gonna go lock too, man. I think for real by the end of the year, Anthony said he think that Dabo gonna step down at his own power, man. I think he gonna get fired. I think they have. I don't think they're gonna have the year that they want. I think they're gonna be competitive. I think they'll be in the top half of the ACC, but I don't know. I think his seat was already hot, and they ain't going. They like 10-2, 11-1. That's the type of season they want to have. I don't think they're gonna have that season, and I think they just gonna be like, maybe we need to go in a new direction. And Norvell, yeah. Even though I've been hearing good things about Florida State, I was hearing good things about Florida State last year. You know, so we got to see how it go. If Norvell have a bad year, he's definitely if he start 3-3, he's out of there. I don't care. We don't even need to waste no time. We need to focus on our recruits. All right, next lock or not. Will the ACC get 2 or more teams into the playoffs this season?
Man, that's with only 12 teams, and we already know that 6 of them are going to probably be taken up between the Big Ten and the SEC. And either one of those teams is probably going to get 4. So that's 7. You know the conference champions are going to be in there. So that's 9. You got an at-large. That's 10. So now you only got 2 spots where another ACC team can get there. I'm going to say yes. They can get 2 or more.
Yeah, I'm going not. I think they get 1 team in again. I think it's going to be sticky. But I think the problem is we know Notre Dame is probably going to be in if they had a season. Yeah, we know Notre Dame. So we down to 11 spots. Then we still got the mid-major bid. That now we down to 10 spots, and now we got to think about the SEC and the Big Ten, which, like you said, that's 6. That's 6. So now we down to 4 spots. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I think it's really gonna be 7 from that. So now we down to 3 spots. I think it's gonna be 7. So now we down to 3 spots. So you get 1, or I don't know. I just think the Big 12 gonna have 2. I think Texas Tech is primed to definitely lock their spot in, and I think it's gonna be another team, maybe a BYU. I don't know who it's gonna be yet. But we're gonna get to that when we do the Big 12 breakdown next week. But I think the Big 12 is gonna get 2 again. I don't know. That's just the feeling and that comes back to the respect of the conference too, though. And they can change all this though. They just got to win some of these non-conference games this year. That's all. That's all you got to do. When your conference go play other conferences, just win them games. He said, let's say Duke and Virginia Tech wins the conference, but they're 9 wins. I don't think they make the playoffs. I think Miami gets another at-large spot this year.
Yeah, well, I don't think any 9-loss team in the ACC or the Big 12, Big 12 will ever get in college football playoffs. Unless they're the conference champ. Then they might get in. But that's going to take away from anybody else that's in that conference, though.
Yeah. Listen, Miami beat Notre Dame last year. I don't really know. I seen their schedule. I don't really know if they got any losses in the ACC this year for real. Just because I believe in Darian missing like that. They got Notre Dame. They at Notre Dame this year. So that might be a loss, but I think it's not out of the picture for Miami to be 11-1 this year. It's not out of the picture.
But you think
that's
that
very
the
likely,
Big 12
actually.
can get – you believe the Big 12 can get 2 wins over the ACC?
Yeah. I think that's what I think is going to happen again. That's what happened last year. But I expect the ACC to be stronger this year than it was last year, too. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think they got to win. I think they got to win these non-conference games, though. You have to win these non-conference games. You just get your respect back. He said after what happened to those 2 teams last year, I don't think they're going to give a group of 5 teams a spot in the playoff. No great. Their record is in conference. Well, the group of 5, they get a player in the race regardless.
Yeah, I think he might be talking about the fact that they got 2 in there last year.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that had never happened ever again. That's why they changed it, so that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Hey, Anthony, welcome to the NIL transfer portal era where rebuilds happen overnight. As long as he got a quarterback and a solid foundation on that offensive and defensive line, I'm telling you, he is going to be just fine. And which he does, I think he's going to be just fine. All right, where was we at? Okay. Do you have any storylines, intriguing storylines about the ACC this year that you looking at?
The most intriguing to me, it has to be Norvell and that Florida State team, man. Can they get to the point where they can? They didn't even get bowl eligible last year. The year before that, they only won 2 games. That's 7 wins, bro, in 2 seasons. That has to be the storyline. And then, of course, Franklin coming in from Penn State to Virginia Tech. Can he get that team back being relevant in the ACC? Dabo Swinney, his last 2 seasons haven't been the greatest either. Even though they did make the college football playoffs that year, the year before that, they really weren't that good of a team, and they just happened to luck up because Miami ended up getting popped by SMU. Miami got beat by Syracuse, that they were able to get that Clemson team in there who won that conference that championship that year. But they weren't a good football team. You see how Texas just ran all over them in that college football playoff. So I think those 3 are some major ones. And then, of course, we got the player storylines. We want to see what Mensah's going to be able to do at Miami, what Key Host when he finally get his chance here at Louisville, because I think right now he's quarterback 1 in spring. So outside of those things, you just want to see how this conference goes and if it's going to be chaos again.
Yeah. Man, listen. My storylines, man, like I wanna know if we're gonna figure out this year. Was last year a fluke of how bad the ACC was, like from top to bottom, even though we know they did have a national runner-up in that conference, but let's be all honest. If we would have stacked that conference up against any other conference, it probably would have got ugly. That's just my opinion, really. But also, I want to see what it looked like in year 2 for Bill Belichick? Can you get this offense turned up? That offense was atrocious. The defense wasn't that bad though. If people watch North Carolina, the defense really wasn't that bad. But can he get it turned around over there? Him being who he is, which is probably the greatest coach ever. Can Bill Belichick get that program humming? Also, I want to see is NC State. Can y'all take a step? NC State and Louisville. Can y'all take a step and now etch y'all's name into one of the top teams in the ACC? We need as a college football community and a football lover for somebody to step up to the plate and actually put their feet in the dirt and grind some wins out this year and etch their name into a top team into this ACC. And we need somebody to do it now, and we need them to be consistent, from here on out. Because we seeing the flux in Florida State, they can't figure it out. Louisville, Kentucky, you around this Ohio border, you better start cleaning up this state with players. And I don't know. I feel like they can get every guy they want that Ohio State doesn't take for real. And they can get, that's not a far drive. People are not like, if your kid goes to Louisville, you can make that drive every Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Or every, the ACC like playing Friday night games every Friday. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at those two teams to see if they can take a step. And then I want to see what type of Pitt team we're gonna see this year. Pitt, they played very competitively last year. That's another middle of the pack road team that I just want the seesaw to teeter one way or another. I don't like middle of the pack teams. I want you to either be terrible or I want you to be good. I don't like the little gray area stuff, bro. I want to wake up and when I see the schedule, I want to be like, oh, we're going to trounce them. Or, oh, no, we in the fight today. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that middle of the pack stuff because it's too wishy-washy for me. And, yeah, I think that's all my storylines for real.
Yeah. Anthony got a good point right there when he's talking about the commissioner and this Notre Dame thing. It's the last comment in there.
He said, you know what that is? I blame our ACC commissioner for following Notre Dame to be a partial member of the conference instead of a full member because Notre Dame wants to be special. I mean, I agree with you, I don't want to say more than that, but I agree. You feel me? I don't know. Like, something got to happen with that because even our fellow podcast mate, Postgame, who's an Indiana fan, a Notre Dame fan, he's sick of the ACC. He don't want no partnership with y'all no more. So, I guess it's on both sides. You feel me? ACC don't like Notre Dame, and Notre Dame don't like the ACC.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah. I think that at the time when the commissioner did make this move, it sounded like a really, really good idea because Notre Dame is one of those programs that you want to have some of your teams playing a schedule that has Notre Dame on it. But now that we've gotten into this college football playoffs and you know that they're going to give preferential treatment to Notre Dame and they're not going to be getting this preferential treatment because they're in the ACC, they're getting it because they're Notre Dame. Now you got to look at that thing and say, hey, man, we got to revisit this thing and either you going to come all the way in or you got to get all the way out. And I think the better choice for them is to get them all the way out.
Yeah, I think they should be playing Big Ten schools anyway.
Yeah.
Or like their rivals is in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So why not play Big Ten?
It's a better regional fit too.
Yeah. He said his Virginia Tech comments. Yeah, I touched on this one. I already touched on James Franklin rebuilding. He said what I mean by rebuilding is more that he's still installing his system and culture at Virginia Tech, and that takes maybe 2 to 3 years to install. Yeah, that's why I said we in the NIL transfer portal era. It's like you build your team, you go get players that fit your system. You're not just picking any random candy out of the candy store. It's like you getting guys that fit your scheme. So I think it takes way less time. Like honestly,
Didn't he
which
get quite a few players from Penn State to come over there to Georgia Tech with him?
yeah, he got a lot of he got a man. I wouldn't call it a lot. He got like 10 to 15 of his guys, but I mean, you can only play 11 people on one side of the ball at a time. So, you know,
Yeah. I
I
think
feel
by
like he
year
didn't.
three, he will be in good shape by year 3, though.
Yeah, man, I think he's gonna be in good shape this year. You hear me? Hey, you got the quarterback. That's all you
Yeah.
needed for real. You got your backup quarterback was gonna be your starter this year at Penn State. So he been in the system. He been learning the system. That's gonna be an easy install once he get there. You feel me? We know James Franklin. He really want to run the ball anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
we hey listen, Anthony. We're not about to bash. We're not about to bash Notre Dame fans, bro. We got a fellow Notre Dame family member, bro. You gotta relax. But man, that's all I had, man. You got anything else you want to talk about with the ACC?
I just hope we get the chaos, man. I really do hope we get the chaos. And we talked about these quarterbacks. I really hope that they all have really, really productive and successful seasons because I think when you look at all the conferences and the quarterbacks that are in all of these conferences, the NFL should be licking their chops, man, because they got some really talented quarterbacks, really players overall at all the positions that are going to be coming to the NFL at some point, man. And they should really be licking their chops. And I think this next season coming up in the ACC, we're going to see some quarterback play, some running back play, some wide receiver play that we probably haven't seen as a collective whole in quite some time.
Hey, I do got one question for you before we bounce. Give me your top 3 teams in the ACC this season.
Well, I mean, without a doubt, Miami is number one. We can't count Notre Dame, so they won't be in this one. I'm going. I'm going Miami, Louisville, SMU.
Yeah, we got similar thoughts on that. I'm going Miami, Louisville, and I want to say Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech. Week 12. I'm telling you, week 12. Hey man, listen, man. All the channels is down at the bottom, man. I want to take Zaya. That's Rob. You can find him at WTP for Life. We got Level Up Sports 10. You can find him on YouTube and Facebook. We got Parlay Poe with the Blitzberg podcast. You can find him on YouTube as well. You can find T1 at City League TV on Facebook. Am I missing anybody? Post Game, the Post Game podcast. You can find him on YouTube as well. And we are on Patreon now. You can find all recent episodes and past episodes, all the way dating back, I think, at WTP Sports Dudes 2026 on Patreon. We also got the WTP Sports Dudes website. Get on there, send your comments and your questions. If y'all go on there, send y'all questions. We can put the questions on the show. Any topics y'all want us to talk about, drop it in the website. Anything else you need to add, Rob?
No, that's it. That's it. I mean, I think Anthony dropped another couple questions in there. If you want to tackle them,
Oh, what did he
sort of get us
say?
to an hour.
He said, "Do you guys think Miami can do what they did last year, where they didn't win the conference, but they beat Notre Dame like they did last year?"
I don't think there's with no question they're winning the conference.
Yeah, I don't think it's a question. I think that was the hump that Crystal Ball needed to get over, and now I think just the whole program has a different belief now. So I don't even think they're going to drop games that they're not supposed to drop, and they don't even I don't listen. They don't even play Notre Dame early in the year. They play them like in the middle of the year, I think, this year. So even if they don't win that game, I don't really think it's just gonna be like a playoff game, a playoff atmosphere, like in the middle of the year. I don't think it's gonna affect nothing. Like you just gonna see a good football game. You know what I'm saying?
Are they losing their two best linemen from last year?
You know,
I know they're
Miami.
losing their best lineman. I know they're losing their best lineman.
Yeah, they lost Mesidor and Bang.
No, I'm talking about on the offensive line.
Well, yeah, they got an offensive lineman that's going to be a top 15 pick in the draft, and I think Anthony helped me out. I think the other dude is in the draft too.
The big
I'm not
left
mistaken.
tackle. I think the left tackle.
But they got the number one offensive tackle that he gonna start. Jackson Cantwell. He gonna start from day one. So they already filled one hole. And then I don't know. I don't listen. You never question Cristobal with offensive lines. His offensive lines are always good. That's one thing I'm gonna give him credit for. He gonna always have a good offensive line.
Yeah.
I think Cantwell gonna start on the right tackle though. I think they already had a guy that was planning on taking over the duties at left tackle that was already in the program. So I think that position is filled with somebody that they believe in too. You know, I just don't know who he is. If it was my team, I would know who he is, but it ain't. Yeah. He said this is an overall football question for college football. Did you see that the conference might eliminate their conference championships when they expand to 16 to 24 teams? Yeah, we need to go to 24 and we need to eliminate conference championships, in my opinion.
I'm in agreement with that 1,000% as well. If they go to 16 or 24, I think they need to eliminate conference championship games and just replace those games with 2 games that we can consider to be play-in games with teams that might be right there with opportunity to make the college football playoffs in some of those major conferences like the Big Ten and the SEC for sure. They need to get rid of that conference game, though. Even though I want to see Texas win an SEC conference championship before that happens.
You need one, huh?
I need one. I got to have one. Especially since Texas A&M ain't never got one.
Oh, that's crazy. Hey, where's Sean at? Wait till Sean see that. I'm going to send him a clip of that. 52 minutes, yeah. I'm sending him a clip of that. Hey, I think these conference championships are so pointless. Because just watching them last year, it confused everything. When Bama lost to Georgia last year in the SEC championship, now you got people like, oh, they don't deserve to be in the playoffs, even though they were a 10-2 SEC team. You see what I'm saying? Like, it confused too much stuff. Like, how you gonna tell a team that makes it to their conference championship that they can't go to the playoffs because they lost in the conference championship? I will never understand that. You know, I don't care how they lost.
Yeah.
He said, but that's a thing. You can trust Mario when it comes to development. Yeah. I'm not worried about Mario in the offensive line. How you doing, Stable Eyes? Make sure you hit that subscribe button. All the channels is at the bottom. He says, especially after adding the playoffs. Yeah, man. The playoffs, the conference championships, it's a little too much. And we need to move up. If you get rid of the conference championships, even if we're not at 16 or 24, you can move the playoff up.
Yeah. What's happening, nephew? I see you in the building.
He said, but Bama proved that they shouldn't have been in the playoffs with how badly they got blown out. I mean, all that can be true, but if you go 10-2 in the SEC, you deserve to be in. I don't care how you look in the playoffs or what. I gotta give you credit for going 10-2 in the SEC. That's how I feel about it. He said, do you guys think the O State, Michigan, or any other rival would be by adding these extra games? There's nothing that can affect the hatred I have towards the team up north and the hate that they got for us. It probably will affect certain because we already seen it happen with Notre Dame. You know, Notre Dame is not about to be playing Michigan and USC now, for real. Is it both of them or is it just one of them? It's
Say it
USC,
again.
Notre
Oh,
Dame,
yeah,
and Michigan.
yeah.
They ain't playing neither one of them, are
They ain't
they?
playing
After
neither
like
one
next
of
year or
them.
something.
Yeah. I think they might be close to getting Michigan back on the schedule, but the USC thing is not. It's not looking good right now. So of course, when it comes to an independent team and the rivals that they have, it might affect them more than it's going to affect teams like Oklahoma and Texas and Texas A&M and games like that. But that is a good point, though.
Hey, Anthony, you saying just because you get the benefit of the doubt because you're in a certain conference. Do you not realize that the SEC has put more players in the NFL draft for the last 25 years? Talent is in the SEC and Big Ten. What else do you want? If you got the best players, then that most likely means you have the better teams.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just the logic. That's just a simple 1+1 math equation. He said last year was the last game with the Trojans for Notre Dame. Okay, last year. So they don't play USC or Michigan this year, which is wild.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's why they need to just partnership with the Big Ten, though. I mean, if it's that much hatred within each other, then like that's the games we need to see. Quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony, when you look at the whole landscape of college football and you look at viewership, what the people who watch college football are interested in, if you go look at all the games that are played, when it comes to the SEC and the Big Ten, their viewership is hands down the top in college football, period, which lets you know that it's must-see TV to watch those two conferences. Now, the ACC got some good teams in it, but from top to bottom, they cannot compete. The Big 12, they got a couple good teams in it, but they can't compete from top to bottom with the likes of the Big Ten and the SEC when it comes to this college football thing, man. And so when you got that kind of dynamic, usually they're gonna get some favoritism. It's just the way of the world. If you the one bringing in the bread, we gonna show you more love. That's for sure.
He said, okay, you guys are both fans of the Big Ten and SEC football. When you look at Miami and their style, do you think they will fit better in the Big Ten or SEC? Yeah, if Miami ever leave the ACC, they should without a doubt come to the Big Ten.
I think they're a better fit for the Big Ten, but I would rather see them in the SEC simply because they got a good product and that's going to help the SEC. I mean, you got to remember, a few years ago, I was a Big 12 guy. And I really didn't have shit to say.
Yeah, y'all got – see, that's why it wouldn't work, though, because Florida would be mad.
Yeah, they would be – I'm just only thinking about really for regional purposes because they're already down south. So, for that reason. But I think they're a better fit in the Big Ten, but I would like to see them in the SEC.
You just want the product. I get it.
Exactly, especially if Clemson can't get their stuff together.
Yeah. Hey, do you think we're going to see another realignment, though?
I mean, I'm still standing strong on the fact that I think there are going to be two super conferences someday. I do think there are going to be two super conferences. What about 18 to 24? No, with more than 18 because they've already got 18 team conferences already. With at least 24 teams in those two super conferences.
Yeah, Stable I said he was speaking on the impact of the game. But listen, I don't think it's rivalries that will be affected, bro, with extra games, with these extra games. But the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry is untouchable. There's nothing that's going to stop this rivalry.
Yeah.
It's nothing. Certain other teams, though, like, I don't know. Let me think of one. Like Ohio State and Illinois. We play for a trophy. It's a trophy that they never have, and we always have it. But Like that game probably will stop being on the schedule pretty soon. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not going to be a year in year out game for us. I don't think. It's usually a year in year out game, almost damn near, just like how Penn State was. But we don't even play Penn State this year. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, when you think about it, when you look back at it, when Texas A&M left the Big 12 to go to the SEC, that immediately ended the rivalry between Texas and Texas A&M until Texas got back in the SEC. Then it got rekindled. But Texas A&M, I feel like was okay with that not being the case. They didn't have to play Texas anymore. And some people on Texas side felt the same way too. We don't want to play them. And so when you get a situation like that, the Michigan-Ohio State will never go away. But there are other rivalry games that will go away, especially if it benefits both of those teams for it to go away. Because I mean that's an L that one of those rivals is going to take, and they might not want to do that. They might want to increase their chances of making it to the college football playoffs by not playing that rival game. I know Oklahoma and Texas A&M, even both of them made it to the college football playoffs last year. Both of them are scared as hell of the Texas Longhorns because Texas has been kicking their butt the last two or three seasons.
He said the thing I actually worry about, I think Miami will fit better in the SEC realistically, but Georgia and Bama are not going to allow them to go. Florida doesn't really have as much power. Man, you might think Florida ain't got no power. They done won basketball championships in the last 15 years, and they done won football championships in the last 20 years. You know, so you might think they ain't got no power. They got some power now.
I mean, that's why it took Texas so long to get in the SEC because Texas A&M was blocking that thing for a long time. So You best believe South Carolina is going to try to block Clemson from coming, and you guarantee that Florida is going to try to block Miami or Florida State from coming. Florida State, I think they don't have no option but to go to the Big Ten, in my opinion.
That we don't want them.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, too. When you start talking about realignment, you got to start thinking about all sports, not just football. You got to start thinking about softball, these softball programs, these baseball programs, you know, women's basketball. You got to start thinking about everything, you know. So it ain't just football. Unless you just do a football deal where you be like, all right, my football team will play in your conference. We see some of those deals sometimes. Or my basketball team will just play in your conference.
Yeah.
But all right, man, we ain't got nothing else. Said the Miami Florida State is untouchable too because if that happens, if either team goes to different conferences, he said it'll still play. Yeah. I think all them Florida schools should really play each other. They should do a round robin for real. But hey, I ain't got nothing else. You got anything else you want to talk about?
No, I ain't got nothing else, bro. I'm ready to get my day started, though.
Man, I've been up at it since 6:30, man.
Oh, yeah?
It's like a regular school day for me. All right, Rob, man, I'm going to holler at you, man. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, bro. I'll see you tomorrow at work.
What's up, Sean?